Yo, DC's kind of on alert today.
Why?
They had some violence against folks over in who work for the Israeli embassy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's some people here just talking to me in front of the Supreme Court, and they got things cut off. I'm making a video, but you can't see y'all. And remember, the thing that people are going against and fighting against is the violence of the Israeli state against the Palestinian people who lived there before Israel was propped up after World War II. So attacking people with guns and violence is kind of counterproductive to people standing up against powers that be using violence and subjugation and evil. So it kind of is counterintuitive and shows ignorance on the part of anybody who would do such a thing. So it's called check yourself before you wreck yourself. And I don't drink beer, but it's a nice hat, isn't it? Anyways, I'm going to show you some footage from a few weeks, maybe a couple of months here that I haven't published yet, I don't think, or maybe I did, and talk about how I feel about that. How about that? Why don't I do that? Hey, so if you're fighting a system that's a violent system, if you're fighting a violent system, you can't go out and shoot people to prove your point. If you're fighting a system that's based upon murder and genocide and death, if you're fighting a system that's based upon genocide, murder, and death, you can't go out and commit murder and violence and death to protest that society. You can't say you're doing it in the name of change or fixing things. You can't say you're protesting and going against a society by doing the same evil to those people. That's one of the reasons why Dr. King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. Nonviolence. That's why the so-called movement is successful. Nonviolence. People like SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. That's why it's successful. Not because people go out and shoot at people or beat the shit out of people or maim or harm or attack or do violence on people. That's what's important. Now, look at these images right now. So for these years, people have been talking about injustice in what is called the State of Israel being done against the Palestinian people. Most recently, in the past couple of years, people have been speaking up about Gaza, which some say is the largest open-air prison in the world. Some call it a slave site for wet nurses to take care of the children that are created in the hill country in Israel that no one's talking about. Because there's also millions of Palestinians or so-called Palestinians in the hill country that are not in Gaza. However you want to look at it, about 3 months ago, the King of Jordan took 3,000 children from Gaza, from the state of Israel, the country of Israel. the nation of Israel. 3,000 children. The king of Jordan must be very happy. He probably didn't even have to pay for those children. And I'm guessing he has no moral scruples whatsoever. Where are the parents of those children? Notice how the world did not get outraged when it was announced to the world that the king of Jordan took 3,000 children from Gaza. Who are the parents of those children? Are they so-called Palestinian women? Are the fathers the visiting Israeli soldiers? Are the fathers someone else? Are the fathers Palestinians? Are the moms and dads still alive? Are the parents, the fathers, the ones who gave the children to the king of Jordan, and they get to visit their children once every couple of years during the season of visiting children? I mean, look at what's going on and see how come no one's talking about that 3,000 children were publicly given from one country to another. How does that grab you? What if the United States announced, hey, we're giving 3,000 children to the King of Spain, or the Premier of China, or the new leader of Cuba if Castro's dead? I don't even know if Fidel Castro is dead. Like, pick another country and say that they gave us 3,000. What if instead of the government of Qatar or Qatar, I'm sorry, assholes call it Qatar. What if they announced, instead of giving a $400 million plane to President Trump, they were giving President Trump 3,000 children? Or what if the president of Jordan said he received 3,000 children from the Israeli government from Gaza, and as a thanks to the United States for maintaining world peace and stability in the Middle East, the king of Jordan was going to give the president of the United States 10% or 20% to tithe, and gave the president 400 children. Hey, president of the United States, here's 400 children. Or what if the king of Jordan decided to give 400 children to the U.S. Congress for maintaining peace in the Middle East and providing airplanes and guns to the Israeli soldiers and to the Jordanian military? Or what if they actually gave the king of Jordan 6,000 children, but only said it was 3,000? But really, what if people thought about the fact that the king of Jordan just received 3,000 children as a present from the king of Israel? Bibi, as President Biden used to call him. Why doesn't somebody call God about all this and ask God how God feels? I'm just a person, and I feel like shit about the whole situation. And that last thing is, right? Hey, by the way, it's we the people in the United States of America. So if the world gets to start judging on the United States of America, and we the people didn't give a fuck about 3,000 children being given to the king of Jordan on our watch, then the entire planet blames the United States of America for stealing and bartering children for the Israeli government and for the king of Jordan and all this other weird shit. Therefore, we the people, everyone in the United States is guilty for slave trading 3,000 children. Because guess what? Israel wasn't set up until after the United States took over during World War II and redrew the maps for the entire planet. And now Google does the same thing to the Gulf of Mexico, now called the Gulf of America, and to the country of Burma, now called Myanmar. What did they do to you? And do you believe in all this shit? Or do you want to stand up and get it changed? Not just for yourself, but for your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren, who shall be held responsible, because we are the people. We the people. Red, white, blue, me and all of you. Unless you're not from the USA, then you look at us and say, hey, what the fuck did y'all do? Today's May 22nd, 2025. This is Capitol Hill. This ain't no green screen. I walk it, I don't talk it. Most people just squawk, 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 and television box it. Hey, and as the new FBI director Patel, I think his name is Kashyap Patel, he just announced it's unsafe to work in the Herbert Hoover FBI building here in Washington, D.C., which is actually that way. And this is the Hubert H. Humphrey building for Department of Health and Human Services. You got the Hubert H. Humphrey building and then the Herbert Hoover FBI building. The FBI just said it's unsafe to work in that building and they're closing it. Do they mean the building materials? Something's going on with the plant and engineering of the building? Are the floors and the ceiling gonna cave in? Or is it in a dangerous part of the city because it's on Pennsylvania Avenue, smack dab directly between the White House and Capitol Hill? So if they're saying it's the neighborhood and the people, well then they're saying it's the people of Capitol Hill. But if they're saying it's an environmental problem, then it means during the pandemic, they changed up the ductwork and the pipes and started adding chemicals to the air and water. And now they want to protect the employees of the FBI. You pick. Anyways, have fun. This is Washington, D.C., May 22nd, 2025. You feel me? You feel me? If you don't, that's because you don't know. And if you don't know, well, now you know. Gah.